sit on the verge of death. What do you hold true when there's nothing left of you? Little atoms so strong. Crack them, everything's gone. Turn the whole world to ash with your nuclear badge. No, I don't want to lose control, man. Whole world could blow, man. No, I don't want to lose control, man. We're out of control. Itch your trigger finger. Just start a nuclear winter. You know the roaches will remember you for what you've done and what you'll do. No, I don't want to lose control, man. Whole world could blow, man. No, I don't want to lose control, man. We're out of control.
All right. So enough of that.
All right. So we're done. We're done jamming out to your childhood, Greg.
Yes, we are for now. For now, we'll see. It might come back
Okay.
sometime. You never know.
Okay. Got you.
I never did
Okay.
I didn't get to play 1984. So
Okay. So, oh, might
mm,
have to do something here.
might have to play that at the end.
Maybe. It would be apropos as the
Right.
term.
Right. So if anybody's interested in hearing that song, it's very interesting. It's very relative. I would say that.
I only know the book.
There's
What are you talking about, Matt? You don't read. The only thing you read is Pokemon. Don't lie to us.
No, and they
way to call them
Go
out
ahead.
like
I learned
that.
to read from Pokemon, but
I was gonna say, for those of you who don't know, Matt actually learned to read by playing Pokemon.
yeah. So don't say games never did me nothing.
That's right.
If
That's,
they
tell
done the
homeboy how to
youth of
read.
today any good.
But welcome to episode 59 of the Update-Log. We're 59 episodes in, fellas. It's crazy.
You say that like it completely amazes you every week. It's just like
it does. Yeah, I'm surprised we're still here. I'm just surprised we're still here. Okay. But yeah, we're here, episode 59 of the Update-Log. I'm Rob. This is Matt and Greg. Matt's the one who learned how to read by Pokemon, in case you didn't know. And Greg's the guy who likes old music.
guy who likes old music.
Hey, look, I love old music too. My mom raised me on 70s and 80s music. But this is episode 59 of the Update-Log. And as the title suggests, we got a couple things to talk about. Namely, well, start us off, Steam. Fun fact about Steam, they have their summer sale going on right now until, what is it, the 11th of July, I think?
They do.
I think it's the 11th. Yeah, so they have a big old sale, which they might need considering the UK is suing them for the number is 656 million pounds, but if you convert that to dollars, good old American freedom currency, that's about $1 billion, not a million, $1 billion with a B.
We call
It's a
them
lot of money.
freedom bucks.
That's right, freedom bucks, baby.
Yeah,
Unironically, it is 4th of July tomorrow, so
yeah. Which, speaking of that Steam Summer Sale, if anyone has some games on the wish list, now's the time to pick them up because there's a lot of good sales. I picked up a couple of things myself earlier this week.
There are quite a number of good sales going on. I think even Elden Ring is on sale, so you can get the base game and still have a little bit left over. Get the DLC, which is 40 bones for damn near a whole new game. So just saying, just plug in From Software there for a moment. From Software, if you want to sponsor us, feel free.
Yeah, I mean, Phantom Liberty for 2077 is also on sale. Only 15%, so not a huge one, but it's a sale, so better than full price.
And it's a lot of game. It's a lot of game for full price for that price. I haven't beat it yet though, but I'm getting there.
Yeah.
But
I haven't even started it yet.
I haven't even started it yet, but I know it's a lot of game. I've heard. Okay, I've heard things.
I started a new file, so I haven't gotten to the expansion content yet. I'm still going through some base game, but I'll get there. But anyway, enough about the sale.
Let's talk about Steam.
About the lawsuit. So this is a lawsuit coming from the UK, which doesn't surprise me when it comes to UK is a little more known to cracking down on shady business practices than we are here in the States. Honestly, the States, we're kind of like a Wild West for a lot of companies. We give them a lot of freedoms.
We do. And to give you some context for who's putting in that particular lawsuit, it is headed by Natasha Pierman, partner and head of competition litigation at Milberg London. So Milberg London LLP is the one launching this particular lawsuit at Steam.
By the way, they are also the ones that facilitated and launched the lawsuit against Sony in 2022 for $5 billion.
And they won that one, didn't they? I think they won that one.
They did.
Yeah. So yeah, those guys mean business.
Hey man, that's why if you take on Sony and win, then I mean,
that's a big deal.
That's a major notch under the belt. But
I don't think they're afraid of anybody right now. It's like Steam, Valve is next. All right, let's have it.
I feel no
payday, baby.
Pretty much.
So let's talk about why. What was Steam being sued over? What are they doing that's got folks in the UK so worked up? And there's a couple reasons for that. Obviously, this is kind of like an antitrust lawsuit, essentially, kind of proposing Steam as a kind of a monopoly, trying to stymie competition. Which obviously Steam is by far the biggest dog in digital games distribution.
By far.
By far. Like you have Epic Games, you have GOG, a couple other guys, but they're
an estimated 84% of the marketplace. Yeah, I would say they dominate that.
Yeah. 84% of the marketplace. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like all those other options combined just make up 15 to 16%.
Yeah, so Steam has a overwhelming majority of that market. They are dominant by far, and the main thing that's kind of come under question for what Steam does that's trying to limit competition is they have a certain clause for developers that put their games on Steam. Because obviously, Steam being as large as it is, as a developer, you'd be kind of shooting yourself in the foot if you didn't put your game on Steam. Anyone who takes those exclusivity deals from Epic, their games are usually it's a fucking ghost town over there until that exclusivity runs out, and then they can put their shit on Steam. But this deal, essentially what it means is that when you put your game on Steam, you cannot sell it anywhere else for a lower price than what you have on Steam.
Yeah.
So that means you put your game on for let's say $20.
Yep.
You put your game over on, Epic Games or your own website or whatever, you cannot make that anything lower than $20.
You can run specials on other platforms, so you can run sales on other platforms. But part of Steam's contract is that if you do that, you have so many days, and you have to run a comparable deal for Steam.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Pretty much. So,
and I can't really disagree with that. And to clarify, I was wrong on one point. So the person who's heading this particular investigation her name is Vicky. Where is it? Vicky Shotbolt, I think. Yeah, there we go. Vicky Shotbolt. She's part of that same Milborg LLP, but she's the one heading this particular investigation.
You were wrong.
I was wrong. Yes.
You're fired.
It happens sometimes. Yeah, I know. Just gotta give up a seat.
Never admit when you're wrong.
Infinity Core. Double down. I just dig myself deeper.
Exactly. That's the way you make it through life.
Nah, I don't want to drown. I'm okay to admit when I'm wrong. But yeah, so it's Vicky Shotbolt who is taking over or rather, who's leading the charge on this one. And here's the thing. We're gonna talk about Steam. We're gonna talk about this whole situation as we have been, the last couple of minutes. I understand. So from a business standpoint, I get where Steam is coming from. They do have overwhelming majority within the digital, PC gaming sales space. And here's the thing, they've earned that. They've worked the last 20 years to create a space where it's almost stupidly easy to maneuver their user interface, the user experience, user interface, the customer service. All of that stuff is, by and large, across the board, very good.
So one might say that they don't need to have those clauses in their contract.
Probably not.
Yes.
We've talked.
That's exactly what I was going for. They've earned that top spot, and they've earned the fact that they hold majority share. They have, and I'll argue that against anybody.
Oh, yeah.
But then to have those clauses, myself and Matt talked about that a couple, yesterday actually, and
even on the past podcast.
Yeah, and the last podcast, that is true. Yeah, and here's the thing. At first, I was like, I kind of get why they had that clause in there, but the more I thought about it, I was like, wait a minute. You're kind of doubling down a little bit at that point, not in a good way, because you already have majority share. People are already going to come to you for their PC game needs. And most, if not all, especially if you're an indie developer, companies are going to, again, everyone has acknowledged, if we don't put our game on Steam, we're losing money.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Yeah.
Just because of the exposure, the resources, the name that, hey, my game is on Steam. Everyone knows it. I'm pretty sure anybody, whether you play PC, whether you play, hell, if you're a gamer in general, I'm pretty sure any gamer, whether you play console or not, or PC or both, you probably have a Steam account. Like, you probably have one at this point. So yeah, you'd be stupid to not put your game on Steam. And then Steam on their end to have that. Go ahead, Greg.
Well, I was just going to say, but then you have those pesky little antitrust laws.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's look at that. Let's look at one issue that this kind of caused, because, you can see why, from Steam's point of view, obviously they don't want the developers giving anyone else a better deal anywhere else. Like, we can definitely understand that from Steam's point of view, that they want the best deal and all of that. Let's talk about the deal. Like, how is the price of a game determined? And part of that comes into whatever cut they're paying the distributor. In this case, Steam takes about 30%, which is that's hefty.
That's a large chunk.
That's a hefty chunk. I mean, maybe if you recall, the Apple Store took a similar chunk before Epic pulled their whole shenanigan with the Fortnite stuff. And so, we do know that 30% is huge, and developers have to factor that cut in when they determine their price on the store. Mm-hmm. So they have to determine the price on Steam because of this huge cut that Steam takes. But they go to a different store, the other storefronts, they may offer them a better percentage. They may not take 30%, it could be less than that. But they can't factor that into the price. So they essentially have to put the same price over there, essentially overcharging for the product over there. And so, this obviously isn't great for consumers. It makes it near impossible for anyone to actually compete with Steam, because you can't offer better prices than Steam. You literally cannot.
Part of the deal for putting your product on Steam.
Here's a piece that I just looked up. So to publish your game on GOG, it's free. Revenue split 70-30. So 70-30 might be the only thing is they obviously don't have the restriction that Steam does. So there is that.
Yeah, I'm going to assume, granted, I don't know this for sure when it comes to the Epic Games Store, but considering they came after Apple for a 70-30 split on the Apple Store, I feel like they would have gotten nowhere in that lawsuit if that was the same deal that they had on the Epic Games Store. So I'm going to assume that Epic's is probably a bit more developer friendly for that split. Probably, I don't know, 20, 25, something like that.
So it costs to publish a game on Epic Game Store is $100 per game.
Is there a revenue split, or is that it? No, that could be it.
No, it can't be. I'm looking. I want to say it's 70-30 as well. 12%. Never mind.
12%. Okay, so that's very 12%. Different.
Yeah.
That's hugely different. So like, if someone was just putting their game on Epic Game Store, they base their price with that 12% in mind, which obviously would probably come out to a bit lower than they price the game if there's a 70-30 split, because you don't want to charge. If you overcharge, that limits how many people are going to buy your game. Lower that bar of entry, more people are going to buy, and you're probably going to make more money in the long run, even if you're charging less. I mean, that's just a business tactic right there. But Steam makes this impossible, and because they're such a huge share of the market, you, like as I said earlier, you'd be shooting yourself in the foot not to put your game on Steam. So you have to run by their rules, essentially, no matter where you go.
Right. Steam's obviously Steam's business practice when it comes. Here's the thing: from a consumer standpoint, you're not going to know, unless it comes out in ways like this. You're not going to know anything about this. You're not going to, there's not going to be any. Now, what it does do from the standpoint of Steam at this point is, and since they control such a large portion of the market, it becomes price fixing. And that does negatively impact the consumer, because now you have to charge a certain amount for your product, regardless of what you want to do. If you want to get it on this platform, they basically are dictating what the price is through their fees
across all platforms.
Exactly. And price fixing is an issue. That's it's more commonly called gouging, because it typically means that you're going to set a high margin on that product, and then you're going to force the rest of the market to adhere to whatever that is. Right.
I'm pretty sure you typically find that from people who are the majority share in whatever industry. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Greg, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's kind of what we're seeing here, unfortunately.
Well, that's exactly what we're seeing here. That's exactly what Steam is doing at this point. And the downside to it is that for the most part, the consumers are very happy with Steam, because it is an easy to use platform. There's not a lot of reason to be upset, except for now, as we begin to understand what's actually happening on the back end side, and the price fixing piece, the amount of our money that's going into the pockets of this platform. Here's the thing: it's a digital asset. It's not like a physical asset. Steam isn't paying it. There's no transportation costs. The overhead is really just about
low.
Right.
Yeah.
In retrospect, it is
data being downloaded and stuff like that, but that's nothing like shipping physical copies
of
the game.
So this platform, this business, Steam, Valve, has become a cash cow. I mean, they are making money hand over fist. And and then you start knowing that, now start looking at this information, start looking at the price fixing issue, start looking at how dominant they are in the marketplace, and it does become concerning at that point. Then you got to look at it and say, well shit, what if they actually do, because they've been growing, and then their market share has been growing and growing and growing. What if they do actually become a true monopoly and just basically control the entire market? What happens then?
Whatever they want to do.
and that's what the antitrust laws are really all about, is making sure that things like that don't happen, so that the consumer isn't being raped, more or less. These game developers know they don't need to charge that high. They don't need to have that big price tag on there, but unfortunately there's so many steps in between them and the end user then each one of those steps has their payday. You know what I mean? They've got to get paid. And suddenly you have a game that I don't know, might have only cost, maybe they could sell it at $20 a copy and still make money at a certain threshold. Well, now it's 60. Or, 60, like we're seeing, it's, it was 60, now it's 70, going to 80, heading to $100. I mean,
yeah.
And at 30%, that means Steam's making $30 off every copy of that's sold. And this is a digital IP. They have barely anything invested.
Game. Yeah.
There you go.
That means, and then when you look at that, $40. We'll use Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree as an example. Again, it's a digital thing. It's a digital copy. Most of the sales are probably going to go through Steam. Do they have physical copies? I'm sure, because they have the console version. But most of the sales of that game are more than likely going to go through Steam, and they're going to make, their $30, their 30% off of that $40 for every copy. And I'm pretty sure it's already in the millions. I'd be willing to bet. And I mean, just to give you some numbers, last fiscal year, record-breaking sales in 2023 generated over $9 billion in global revenue. 9 billion bones. That's fucking ridiculous. And here's the thing, like I'm torn because I don't want to rag on Steam like that, because for the most part, they've done well. They've done good by the people that they serve. But at the same time, it's not just us that they serve. They serve the developers as well. So is this fair to them? Absolutely not. To take 30% off of the top for their game, it's a little steep. Well, and just to offer contrast to that, the entire TTRPG community, not just the D&D community, but the entire TTRPG community was up in arms with the OGL situation when that came out, and it was looking like Hasbro wanted to charge 30% for like third-party content.
Let's just be honest about one thing though. Okay, this 30% piece, because that's being factored into the price. That's not hurting the devs at all. These studios that are producing these products, the 30%'s not hurting them at all.
True, they probably factor that into their budget.
To take that standpoint and say that it's not fair to these guys, I mean, that's a nonsensical argument. It doesn't make any sense at all.
The cost comes out to us.
Right, we're the ones paying it. They're not.
Yeah,
because they're just going to add the 30% on top of what they want for their game. Period.
Yeah, true. Essentially, and that's like the core of the UK's lawsuit. That their people in the UK are paying a lot more than they have to because of this deal, and like the fact that they can't get it anywhere else for cheaper, nowhere else. Like, and think about that from the competition standpoint. Because, like, yes, Steam as a service works really well. We talked about this in a previous podcast, like a month or two ago. Comparing the Steam store page compared to the Epic store page, and the Steam store page was far superior. So, but here's the thing: how do you compete? Because Steam they're the biggest. They have the most resources, so naturally they can have the best service. They have the funds and resources to make their service.
And they have the experience.
Yeah, and no one else. So they can easily have the best service because of all that. So normally, where other people would try to, carve out their place in the marketplace for that, would be through their prices, but they cannot do that. They cannot get that kind of edge on Steam because of this. So
because of that clause, and it's an
so
art.
How do you compete? Like, how does anyone compete against Steam that way?
Well, you can't. And honestly, again, Greg, you pointed out early in the discussion where, because because they do such a good job, because they're such a well-known and an established entity within this space. I mean, they are the digital PC platform, period. I mean, they hold 84 to 85% market share. this 30% clause, either you can do away with it entirely or drastically lower it. I mean, hell, Epic Game does 12%. Granted, as Infinity Core pointed out, they do get royalties and they have other streams of revenue because, again, a lot of movies, a lot of TV shows utilize the Unreal Engine, so they get a lot of stuff from that. So that's kind of how they get their stuff, get their billions of dollars.
That lower cut is also things. That lower cut is probably also there mainly to try to entice developers to put their games instead of Steam. But again, that exposure issue
doesn't help.
People unless you have an exclusivity deal, you pretty much have to put your game on Steam. You'd be an idiot not to.
Yeah, you'd be shooting yourself in the foot. And here's the thing: I have the Epic Game, Epic Games launcher. I use the engine. I get the free games off the store sometimes. I've bought a couple of games off of their store, but it's here's the way I look at it, because I use both. I look at Epic Games. I'm like, oh, okay, what's this? I'm scrolling. If it's interesting, I'll get it. But I don't. It's a let me see what happened. Let me see what they have. Whereas Steam, I pay attention to. I actively look through their sales if they're, if I know something's coming up, like the summer sale, like I look through stuff. Like I actively know, what I'm looking for, and I know where to look. Like that's another thing. I'm more familiar because I'm using their platform more often. This piece just doesn't help other platforms get that exposure.
Yeah,
because Steam is always going to be the best option.
Yeah, and as we discussed, because those prices are set by Steam with their high cut that they take, we end up as the consumers carrying the cost. So it does. On surface, you think it's only a dev issue, but no, it does affect the consumer. It affects us quite a lot because, say Steam went unopposed and they gained more of the marketplace, pushed out the others, and as Greg said, became a monopoly. Well, who's to say they only had to take 30% then? Maybe they want to take a little more because they can, because no one will stop them. That's why I'm rooting for this lawsuit, because there needs to be a change made. There needs to be some opposition to this clause that Steam forces on developers. I imagine if a change is made, it's probably going to be in spirit the same, but small, probably a small concession, small concession as they could possibly make.
I disagree with you on that one point about the clause piece to it, because now I don't disagree with the idea behind the antitrust laws, because it's balancing the marketplace is important. But the thing about that is that what we need some form of competition against Steam. Now we have it with Epic, but as you guys said, Epic is kind of a ghost town. At one point in time, Steam was that as well, and didn't have the money that Epic has behind it. So true. I mean, Epic still has potential to become a major competitor when it comes to Steam. I don't think that a regulated mandate against a business practice is the right way to handle the situation. I do, however, think that getting this information out so people understand what's going on and can make an informed decision is good. I do think that since Steam has taken such an aggressive approach and not really backed off of it, they just continue to gobble up more and more market share and create this situation. I hope the lawsuit goes through. I hope they win. And it it equates out to, so this is just in the UK, but it equates out to if this law firm wins, each person who in the specific time frame who bought product from Steam.
Yeah, so they actually have a page here. I'll post it up in the chat for those who want to read.
Yeah, I believe it was like anyone in the UK that like puts their name on this thing. Essentially, they they get like about like $44.
44 quid.
$44.
Pounds. Or,
so
one of those two currencies.
It's not dollars, it's British pounds.
Yeah, 22 to 44 pounds. The number of people who are set to receive that number, that compensation is 14 million. The total of the lawsuit is 656 million pounds, and you have to be at least 13 years old or are the parent of like a PC gamer.
I hope it goes through. Here's the downside to that. Most of these people that get that payday from this lawsuit
go back and spend it on Steam.
Potentially just going to give it back to Steam. Right.
Yeah, that's... I mean, all the power to you if you manage to get another game out of it. Or,
like, okay, thank you for my check. Here you go, Steam.
Yeah. But, I mean, again, I hope the lawsuit goes through because... I mean, UK cracks down on this type of thing more than we in the States do. I mean, there's a reason you don't see loot boxes around like you used to. Yeah. UK cracked down on that.
What the thing that this does, if it passes, will set the precedent for other cases going forward. Not just in the UK, but in Asia, here in the States, in South America, and other regions. That'll set the stage for others to start doing the same thing to not only Steam but hopefully to other similar industries. Is it going to be is that going to happen overnight? Absolutely not. Is this going to stop Steam's overwhelming market share? Absolutely not. But I think it'll start the wheels turning, like you said, Greg, to make it so that there is viable, or at the very least there's a potential for viable competition. Because it could be very well that Steam is just the golden egg. They got it right and that's it. They stay with 85% market share going forward, even with this clause changed and whatnot. That just might be is what it is. Well, and I'm okay with that as long as it's they have viable fucking competition from other people. They have the potential for it.
Right. There needs to be competition. There needs to be competition in the marketplace. I on the opposite side of that, I also have to commend Steam, and I use Steam too. But I have to commend Steam because they're innovative. They have a quality product. It really just comes down to, at some point here, you've got to look at it as the people who are providing, the companies that are providing the best quality, the best service, they should be rewarded.
Yeah,
that's absolutely.
And that's what Steam's done.
I don't think that reward should be being able to set the price for the entire.
I agree.
Other platforms as well. Like, imagine you're at a let's take this out of like digital games and let's use like, say, grocery stores. Say you have like a Publix. So Publix, if you compare it to like Kroger or Walmart, definitely have higher prices for the same product. Imagine if Publix looked at, say, you're Coca-Cola or whatever. They told Coca-Cola, like, you cannot have this Coca-Cola at any other store for less than what we're selling it for here. That'd be kind of bullshit, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly what
ironically you brought up that particular analogy, considering Greg used to work for
Coke. Well, that business, well, actually it is very similar in many ways, but that pricing piece, that's a whole game in and of itself. I just want to say that, because it's You know,
I can only imagine.
Right. There's contract deals and non-contract deals, and that's if you enter into a contract with the company, which is what's happening between the game devs and Steam. They're entering into a contract. Then you have to adhere to the terms of the contract, and in so doing, you get these benefits. One is, Coca-Cola will distribute to all of wherever your locations are at. You'll get price breaks. You'll get you'll get point of sale promotional stuff. You'll get to take advantage of all the special offers and deals that they have throughout the year. You get preferential treatment, whether they want to tell you that or not. You do if you're under contract. And the bigger the contract, the better the deal you get. So that's why you will see some difference in pricing, like on Coca-Cola products. You will see some difference in pricing. Now, bigger contracts, so the larger companies will take a smaller contract with Coke so they can control their own pricing, but still get the price breaks. So you see that a lot with like your big convenience store chains, where they'll take a smaller contract with the idea being that they can lock in their price and get a guarantee as to what their deliveries are going to be, but they can control their own price on the product overall to some degree.
Gotcha.
But typically that's how it works. You sign a contract, then Coke controls the price of the product going out of your store. You don't sign a contract, you can still buy Coke product to resell in your store. You're just going to pay more for it, and as a result, generally, you're going to charge more for it. When it comes to soft drinks, and same thing kind of applies to video games. When it comes to soft drinks, I mean, soft drinks are not really a draw item, but they are a convenience item. So like your convenience stores, your gas stations, stuff like that, people go in, they get their gas and they want to go in and get something to drink for the drive. So you want to have that stuff. And typically it's also where you make your most profit from, is out of the coolers. I mean, anybody will tell you that. Convenience stores, your coolers are your highest profit. That's where your money's coming from.
Yeah. It's like how movie theaters make their movie from concessions, not the actual movie tickets.
Right.
Yep.
Right. You sell gas just to get people to stop.
Pretty much. Stop and grab some road snacks.
Well, let me change that. Actually, that's typically because typically gasoline, the profit on gasoline is between 5 and 15 cents per gallon. But just an FYI for people here over the last 3 years, that margin has been bumped up to be like 60, 70, in some cases $1 a gallon's going right into the pocket of the business. So that has happened.
Okay, that's a lot of money.
Yeah,
and that's a big jump.
Maybe I do want to gas station.
Thing is as soon as the big dogs start going down on their prices, the little guys will just follow whatever the big guys are doing.
Pretty much.
If the big chains are milking the gas prices, then the little guys get to make some extra money, and it's fantastic because they're making a lot of money for a while. But as soon as the market competition starts to come back and those gas prices start to come down, the first thing that's going to come down is that margin piece, and those small gas stations are the ones that are going to get hurt the most out of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you still want to open a gas station, Matt?
Maybe I don't know. You have plenty of snacks on hand whenever you want them. Like that. That's a plus.
That is a plus.
That's a win. That's a win.
The minus is that you never know when someone's just gonna roll up to your station drunk as shit and just cause trouble. I guess that's one of the cons. But
true.
But yeah, I mean, for any little guy in an industry, they got to find some way to compete, and a lot of times that can be through pricing. They may not have the best services or the best selection, but they can at least offer a competitive price. But the way Steam is, literally cannot do that. You cannot compete on that front.
Right.
Yeah, you can't beat them in the price piece.
the only way to really try to compete with Steam is to offer superior service, and that's Steam's, because of all the resources they have, that's extremely hard to beat their services. I mean, Epic tried to compete through being very aggressive with exclusivity deals, and that hasn't exactly panned out for them.
Yeah, it's kind of backfiring on them.
They had to try to find some way to compete because they can't compete on prices.
I mean, here's the thing: they're trying to compete against someone who's been doing this for over 10 years.
Oh yeah,
which is not bad. I mean, I'm not saying don't dream, but Epic, come on! Like, first of all, you gotta up your UI and user experience piece, because I'm sorry, the Epic Store is ass compared to the Steam marketplace. Like, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be 100% honest. It's ass. Bad. Like, the fact that I can't even read reviews, like I have to go digging for them, that's bad.
Well, bad you UI, do see reviews on their store page, but you see like 5-star or however many star ratings from like publications.
Yeah, like critics.
Or websites like IGN.
No, I don't care about the critics. I care about the users.
Yeah, that's why Steam is so good. You scroll down, you see reviews from actual people. You see what they say about it, the things that they like, or the things that they say that they don't like. That's honestly one of the biggest things for Steam, of why I really like it and why I feel like I can actually make an informed purchase in looking at a store page, because I can see how many people like it, how many people hate it, and why they love it or hate it.
Yeah, one of the new things that they did was institute where if the product was like sponsored, like I'll say like paid for or something, or a free copy given or something like that, so the person giving you the review got like a review copy or like a sponsored copy to because they're a content creator of some sort. So that's always good, because then you can take those reviews with a necessary grain of salt, because again, they got a free copy, so they might be a little biased. But one of the things I want to address is what Infinity Core said in the chat. He said, so one thing I want to point out about this claim / case against Steam is, if they win and Steam needs to take less of a share, will the prices go down? The answer is no. And you're absolutely right, Infinity Core. The prices won't go down. But then that speaks to the publisher, because again, if you've already factored in that 30% into the necessary budget to produce your game and make a profit off of it, then you don't lower the like that price down based off of let's say Steam goes down to 12%, similar to Epic. So that's 28% less that you have to factor in. If that doesn't happen, then that's more in the developer's case, and obviously the end user being us still suffers for it. I'd like to say that there will be some people who do lower down the price of their game, but in reality, I can't say that with 100% confidence. Even of people like Larian Studios or From Software, who are very customer, who are very user focused. I can't even see them doing that. Maybe they have a higher chance than anyone else in recent memory, but even them, I'm pretty sure they'll be like, no, you're still paying $40.
When it comes to say the AAA developers, certainly not. They're going to continue to sell their games at 60, 70,
maybe
whatever,
70 or $100.
Like they're going to continue selling that. I think the people who likely will be affected and may end up charging less would be indie developers. Maybe certain AA studios. That one's a bit iffy, but definitely indies, because they're like, when you're an indie, you're for the most part kind of like an unknown quantity. So you want to make sure the barrier to entry for your game is as low as you can reasonably make it, so that people feel good about spending some money on your game, even though they don't know you. So if anyone is going to lower their prices, if this clause goes away, or probably not goes away, but changes, or however that works, it's going to be the indie devs.
Yeah.
So like it will affect things, not the big dogs. They're gonna continue to charge whatever the hell they want to charge. But for the indie devs, I do see a change being happening there.
I think you have a whole lot of faith in indie devs just because they're indie devs. I'm not. I would definitely keep an eye on that situation if it came to pass, and I don't know.
You say Matt's a little too optimistic on the indie devs part?
I am, absolutely. And part of the things that you have to factor in there is they're not getting the kind of margin out of their games that the AAA games are getting. So a lot of why they remain indie games is because they don't have the financial backing. They don't have the capital that's available to them. And this would represent an opportunity to increase their capital. So it would not surprise me if they just remained silent and left the prices right where they were.
Well, when it comes to existing games, those prices certainly would have come down. But when it comes to upcoming games, and again, I'm not saying this as a they're 100% all of them are going to do this, but lowering your price can encourage more people to buy it, and that can, in the end, actually make you more money than you otherwise would have.
I think here's just some thoughts for you on this. Okay, price is important, no doubt about it. But here's the thing: price is also when you start getting into this situation where it's drive down who can be the lowest. That's a race to the bottom, and nobody wins. The thing is be realistic about what you want to charge for your product. Don't gouge your customers. Don't get ridiculous with the pricing. Charge a fair price for it, and a fair market value, and then you don't have to worry about it. I mean, the guys who wanna lowball to sell product, there two things are going to happen. One is the quality of that product is going to suffer because they're not going to have the capital they need to be able to support that product going forward because they're not charging enough for it. And outside of that, they're just going to continue to put out cheap, shitty product. I mean, garbage all the time because they're just not charging enough for it. They don't have the capital they need.
I mean, that's why I say lower their prices within reason, that they go lower than they as reasonably as they could go, because obviously there's the unreasonable lowering prices, which is exactly what you're talking about, where they just don't make any money because they're charging so little.
The unfortunate part, I agree with Infinity Core's sentiment with this, and that is that if this lawsuit succeeds in becoming a regulatory piece which forces Steam to lower what they are charging, that money's not going to go back to the consumers. It doesn't mean we're going to pay less for games. It just means the devs are going to make more. And I feel very, very strongly about that. I don't think the indie games are going to be any exception. I hope they are, but...
Well, at the very least, if there could be any change made that lets other platforms at least compete against Steam, I mean, that's at the core of what this issue is. Because, again, I guess we got a little sidetracked talking about, the cut share that Steam takes. But
the only
ultimately, that's not the main issue.
Right. The only thing that's going to make prices in the video game industry go down is overall competition. That's what's going to make prices go down.
Yep.
It's not going to be because we're forcing the retailers, which in this case is what Steam is. It's not going to be because we're forcing the retailers to charge less or to have lower margins. That has to be freed up so that the devs themselves can compete with one another. And a platform as big and powerful as Steam doesn't allow that type of free market capitalism, basically.
Yeah, and like ultimately, the lawsuit against Steam isn't about the cut that they take. It's just the fact that they limit. They essentially control the prices on other platforms as well. That's the main issue. Like, say even that this lawsuit does succeed, that may not mean Steam has to change the cut that they take. It likely won't. If anything's going to change, it's that piece about being able to control the prices on other platforms. Because with that gone, other platforms will be able to compete that way.
Yes.
And if they do start competing, that is what's going to drag or potentially make Steam lower that or change that cut that they take.
Yes. That then makes sense. Perfect sense.
Yeah. And that's what I imagine is the intent behind this lawsuit.
And then that
not to change the cut, but change that clause about that lets Steam control prices everywhere.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. And long term it converts back to the game studios, the devs. They're the ones that are competing with each other. And then you will probably see stabilization in the consumer cost, because they're not going to be able to just continually bump the price up on these games, because that threshold will be there then where, okay, I have two similar games that came out, this one's $55 and this one's $60, what am I going to buy?
Yeah.
Then price makes a difference.
Absolutely does.
Yeah. So hopefully this lawsuit goes somewhere and some change occurs. We don't know how that's going to look like. I imagine if it occurs, Steam is going to try to make the smallest change that they possibly can. We'll see how that goes. But I do hope it goes somewhere.
Lord Jesus Christ, welcome in, buddy.
Pizza time.
Pizza time, that's right.
I hope it goes some
pineapple on pizza too.
Hey, I like pineapple on pizza.
I do like pineapple. Here's the thing. You say gross. I used to be in that same camp, Matt. I used to be in that same hardcore, disgusting, don't even come near me, I will kick you in the throat. And then I had it and I was like,
Good,
what?
Man.
It's not so bad. Not that bad. Yeah.
You caved.
Yeah. And
all right.
I did.
All right. You don't like pineapple on pizza. How about banana pepper rings?
That's delicious on pizza.
Yes. How about delicious. Peanut butter and jelly?
Whoa! What the hell?
On pizza?
Yeah.
What is wrong with you?
All right, Greg. Yeah, seriously.
Dude, you got to try that.
You need to.
There's a little.
I think you need to go to a mental asylum for that one, Greg.
There's a little pizza place and well, I know there's several that make peanut butter and jelly pizza, but there's a little pizza place in Mansfield, Ohio, called Leaning Tower of Pizza, and they make an awesome peanut butter and jelly pizza. Try it.
Peanut butter and jelly pizza.
Yes.
You know what? I love pizza. I'll give it a shot. I'm not gonna say peanut butter and jelly should be on a fucking pizza, but I'll give it a shot.
Give it a shot, then say it.
Yeah.
No, if you give it a shot, you will never say that. I'm telling you. You'd be like, "Oh my god, wow."
I don't know about that.
I think you're reaching there, buddy. I don't know. Cause pineapple I can do, because you can do like a Hawaiian, barbecue chicken, pineapple, barbecue sauce with Canadian ham. That's delicious. But peanut butter and jelly?
It's good. It's good.
Listen, I'm already going out of my way to be unhealthy with pizza. Why are you putting fruit on it? That's not going to make up for the pizza you're eating.
What are you worried about? I mean, come on.
Have you ever tried pineapple on pizza, Matt?
I have, and it's not my cup of tea.
For you.
Nah.
Okay, here's the thing. You at least tried it.
I do like pineapple. I do like pizza. I just don't like them.
Don't like them together. Fair enough.
It's not for me.
Okay. At least you tried it, though. I can respect that. It's
Yeah.
the same thing with me and mushrooms. I hate mushrooms. They're disgusting. Don't like them. Yeah. But I've tried them every which freaking way. Every which way you could think of, I've tried them. It's texture for me. Anyway, we're getting off on a tangent.
As we do.
So, as we do, yes. So it's our one tangent for the night. Let's go into our next topic.
That's a lofty goal right there. Only one.
Listen. Progress, not perfection. Okay, progress. Not perfection, guys. Come on, one step at a time. Okay, we're recovering. Okay.
Yeah, we're recovering.
I guarantee you will get on at least one more before the night's over.
Recovery for quitters, by the way.
Oh man. Yeah, let's go into our next topic. So, in keeping with what's been going on with Steam and kind of the competition piece. That's kind of what the next focus is going to be on, the competition piece. It's looking like game developers are actually aware of the situation that's going on in the industry, and there's several situations going on. And the one I'm talking about mainly is the provided value for price. And you've seen with again Larian Studios and Baldur's Gate 3, From Software with Elden Ring, that those two games and others, there's been a couple of others over the last year to 6 months, have been hailed as the top of the mountain. BG3 was 2023, Elden Ring. Right now, although they did have a bit of a snafu, kind of, sort of, because the game was too hard and people were downvoting it for that reason, but still, everyone literally, as soon as it came out, bought it. Some people even pre-ordered it. And literally everyone is saying, you are getting maximum value for your money. And what I mean, with kind of circling back to my earlier point, is you have a lot of developers coming out, mainly indie developers. There's a game coming out called Frostbite 2. Matt, do you remember who the developer is for that one? I can't remember off the top of my head.
No.
Stand by, Matt's
coming. Find out.
But anyway, so the developers of Frostbite 2, which is kind of the best way I can put it is a civilization building game. Almost like Civilizations. At least kind of that's the feel I got of it. This game was it's in closed beta, I want to say. Frostpunk. There we go. I don't know why I said Frostbite 2. Thank you, Lord Jesus.
Oh, you were giving me Frostpunk. Okay, I was Google searching the wrong thing. Oh, yeah, Frostbite is that game engine that
Yes, the game engine. I think I was thinking
uses a lot.
Yes, I was thinking of way too many things at one time. Thank you, Jesus.
Okay,
Frostpunk 2. So
I am now waiting for the sermon to come.
Yeah. Yeah, this is 11-Bit Studios.
There we go, 11-Bit. Okay. So 11-Bit Studio came out with thank you. Yeah, Frostpunk 2, which I believe is in closed beta or early access right now. And from what was reported, it was well received. The people that got to play it really liked what they had to see. There were some kind of snags here with certain pieces of game interaction, explanation, and some game mechanics that some people were kind of mid on, and that actually made Frostpunk 2 and the developers take a step back and be like, you know what? We're going to push out the release date for this so we can address those issues. And that is very rare. That's very rare. And the reason why I say that's very rare, at least from Frostpunk's standpoint, from a game like that, is because it was pretty good. It was pretty good. People were enjoying what they were receiving. People assumably felt like they were getting value for the game. They were getting value for the money that they were going to spend or had already spent on the game if it was in early access. But instead of just wanting to be good, Frostpunk 2 wanted to address the issues that were brought up. And that's a rarity. That's a rarity initiative we've talked about many times in previous episodes. Once your deadline is set, as a developer, typically you don't budge, because that's going to cost more money and more development time. And if anyone is invested in your game, they're not going to be very happy about that.
Well, you try not to budge.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, you try not to budge.
Yeah, like I think ideally as a developer, if the decision is up to you, then you do try, like if your game really needs it, to try to push back the release so you can improve it, because in the long run, if instead of releasing a piece of shit, wait a bit to release something that's actually fucking good, that is gonna do you a lot of good in the long run. You may have lost in a couple months worth of sales, but the sales after that delay is going to be so much better because you fixed what would have turned so many people away at the start.
The tough part about it is that when you look at this, the game development piece, game developers, the design, the artists, the writers, I mean, all of these people are taking the largest group of squirrels you can find and putting them all in the same room together. It's not herding cats. It's worse than that. So
it really is.
Yeah. Look, running a studio, especially with a lot of employees, that's not an easy job.
No, absolutely not. I mean, it's the three of us, and sometimes it's like herding cats.
Imagine if we had 20 more people, even more. Imagine if we had 100 people, 200. Goddamn, bro.
Look, man. At that point, we're hiring someone else to take care of that nonsense for us. Okay.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's why it's a person's whole ass job to manage these things. But yeah, delaying a game can definitely do the game a lot of good. Imagine if Cyberpunk 2077 came out on its original release date. As bad as it was when it released, that was after a couple of delays. Imagine how that would have been if they never delayed it. What would that have looked like? Actually,
that might have sunk CDPR even worse than it did. I ain't gonna lie. And here's the thing: this is coming from someone who I didn't have any issues with 2077 when it came out. I think I had maybe one crash. So.
Yeah. I didn't have honestly, I didn't have a lot of problem with it on release. I honestly did not have a lot of issues.
Yeah, so I guess I got lucky.
Yeah, but I don't know. Just the thought entered my mind, what that game would have looked like if it never got delayed. Oh my god, I don't know if it would have functioned.
Probably not. Probably would have bricked some computers too.
But yeah, there is an example of when when delaying a game does work well. Obviously, investors don't want that because they want their money, they want it now.
Right.
They don't want you to delay your game. So it's I was expecting my money now. Why am you tell me I gotta wait longer?
There's a balancing act in that, because you wanna give yourself enough time to make sure that you're creating a quality product. You know what I mean? You're making something really great for your consumer. But at the same point in time, you have the investor on the other hand, where if you tell them it's going to take too long, they're less likely to invest their money in your project. Because can you imagine if somebody came to you and said, "Hey, I need $100 million," and you're not going to make a dime for 10 years?
Yeah, that's a rough one. And that's probably why Cyberpunk 2077 wasn't delayed more than it was, because if it was purely up to CD Projekt Red, they probably would have delayed that longer, because they, more than anyone, knew what the state the game was in. I'm sure they, even at that release date, even after a couple delays, they thought wish could delay this just a little more.
This is not going to go well. Yeah, I'm willing to bet that, especially the developers are probably this is not gonna go well.
We still have especially the console version back then. That part was rough. But I guess getting back to the original,
I liked it. I liked it. When the game came out at original release, I mean, I I played through it in, well, I mean, and this is, I'm not the guy who sits down and plays through a game in 3 days, but I mean, I played through it in about 3 months. And that's before they got any of the fixes or anything in there for any of the, issues. I'm not saying there weren't issues, but I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, but yeah.
Yeah, me either.
But I mean, maybe it's like the particular machines you're running on, or maybe you're just lucky because, like, at that time, Airnet was full of videos. You could see the game absolutely falling apart.
Yeah,
just the weirdest
only
things
issue
happen.
that I had, the one consistent issue I had was the transition from, and I know we're off on another tangent. I jinxed myself this tangent.
Number 2, let's go.
Was the transitional scene from when you meet Jackie in the garage to that whole montage of meeting Mama Wells and everything is that scene on the street. There was a T-pose that always happened. One of the NPCs was always T-posing for some reason, like a split second. There's always, I'm like, and it always happened, and I'm like, God damn it, I hate you. That's the only issue that I have.
Yeah, but I guess to get back to this original point of, like, a lot of developers are, like, I think now more than ever, developers are realizing that it's really important to listen to your audience and do right by them. Because, so many of the AAA game studios these days, backed by these massive publishers, don't really do that. Your Activision, Blizzard, your Ubisofts, people like them. Because it's this overall sentiment that
I need your money!
Customers are getting really tired of the way they're being treated by the games that games are entertainment. They're tired of feeling like their entertainment is pestering them for a bunch of more money. And, like, with these other gameplay mechanics and all this stuff that they don't really like. So, like, I guess a lot of the smaller guys are I don't even say smaller, because by now, like, people like FromSoft or Larian aren't exactly small. I mean, maybe you could compare them to Activision Blizzard, but they're still a big enough entity where they know now more than ever that they need to listen to their people, because that's how they're going to gain more people behind them, more customers to buy their product, more people that will help support them in the future. Because you do right by you do right by your players are going to do right by you.
Larian is in a unique position right now because of Baldur's Gate 3. It doesn't matter what they come out with next. Unless they don't make a good product, unless
they royally fuck it up,
right?
But right now, Larian has my faith, because I played the first Divinity Original Sin. I played Divinity Original Sin 2. I played Baldur's Gate 3. They've been producing quality games, even before what they did with Wizards of the Coast. So even now that they've parted ways with Wizards of the Coast, and their next game probably isn't going to be as big as Baldur's Gate 3. I think they already said it probably was going to be as big. But I still have faith in their ability to produce a really good game. And their next game, they're not going to have to share any of that money with Wizards anymore. They're going to take home that whole pot now. Just by, cut out, what Steam or whatever other platforms take, of course. But, no more Wizards of the Coast dipping their finger into that pot. So they're going to be able to enjoy the fruits of their labor a lot more with their next game. And that's their reward for continuing to listen to their audience and doing right by them in every way that they can. Because if you guys recall, on the FAQ for Baldur's Gate 3, they proudly state no microtransactions.
Mm-hmm.
It is a point of pride for them that they, once you buy the game, you've got it.
You bought it.
You've got the game. Nothing. they typically don't do DLCs or expansions either. I mean, Divinity Original Sin 2 had a DLC, but it was a very minor thing. You really don't need it. It's just like this little squirrel guy that follows you around. Sir Laura was a fun character, but ultimately a very minor thing that just ran adjacent to the game.
Larian really reminds me. I mean, they're very much an old school studio. The way games used to be, only better graphics and better content. But that's because that's the way games used to be. I mean, before it came to the online platform idea, and everything's at your fingertips for a download. Back when you actually had to go to the store and look at the games and actually just make a decision as to what you wanted to buy based off of explanation on the box. Sometimes
I made a comment about that when we're originally discussing Baldur's Gate 3 soon after its release and its big success, about how Baldur's Gate 3 is what we used to expect of video games. Like, it's a complete package when you buy it. It worked for the most part. I mean, it did have its bugs, but it's you almost expect most games these days from AAA studios to launch broken. And they didn't
because they're not
they didn't have all sorts of bullshit. Yeah. And they didn't have all that bullshit, trying to milk as much money out of you. And like that it's weird to see that, because it's like it's the standout in the industry. If you think about it, it's like, yeah, that's how things used to be like 20 years ago.
Yep.
Like when I was a kid, that's how things were. So it's like, it's
quality stuff.
It's a very old school philosophy, the way they handle that there, but it's done them right. And From Software, similarly, they have their expansions, they have their DLCs, but those are fantastic quality, each and every one. I've played a lot of the DLCs for Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. Each of those fantastic additions of content for the price. And Shadow of the Erdtree, while I haven't played it, I mean, we already know that it's been big. It was highly anticipated, and it's $40, but it has a lot of content in it.
Did you buy it?
Oh yeah, it's almost his brother's playing.
My brother's been no lifing it. I haven't bought it yet. It's on my wish list, but it's not on sale. So I'm probably gonna wait until it does go on sale. But
it's like my brother's no life.
He is.
He is.
My brother's big on FromSoft games. He's played Dark Souls 3 to death. He's played Elden Ring to death. And now he's playing Shadow of the Erdtree, which he's probably going to play that to death. But that just speaks that it's a good fucking game. No, it doesn't have that bullshit of they have a problem baked into the game, so they can sell you the solution. Oh, the game too grindy? Sorry. How about an XP grinder? Only $3 or whatever, that type of shit, which we've almost come to expect.
Create the disease so they can sell you the cure. Got it. Yep.
Exactly. And there are a lot of games, especially live services, that do that. We've talked about Elder Scrolls Online plenty, but that is something they do. The inventory system is god-awful.
Trash.
You know how to fix that.
Trash.
Well, if you pay for ESO Plus, their subscription service, get your crafting bag for all your crafting reagents, and your bank space doubles. Wow! All of a sudden, my inventory is fixed for the low price of whatever their subscription is every single month.
I got to say, the crafting bag is awesome, but they had to continue to expand upon the doubling of the inventory piece, because even doubling the bank space really wasn't enough.
Nothing.
Right.
Oh yeah, especially if you got into decorating your house and you had a bunch of furniture pieces.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of people would have like one house essentially as a storage area.
Right. Just dump a bunch of stuff in there.
Yeah. So like, yeah, again, it's Elder Scrolls Online has a shitty, really bad inventory system, but they designed it that way on purpose to sell you the solution. That's what Larian doesn't do. That's what FromSoft doesn't do. I've said it time and again, but companies like Larian and FromSoft respect their players. They respect their time. They respect their wallets, and they're not gonna bullshit you. They're gonna sell you a good game and let that game earn them money by its own merits, and it's worked for them.
And
it's done them wonders. They've only continued to grow with each game that they release. They keep doing better and better.
I must really be a cynical person, because that little motivational speech you just gave makes me cringe, man. Gotta tell you.
Look, it may not last forever, because once upon a time, people thought Blizzard
could do no wrong.
We once thought Blizzard could do no wrong, and then they merged with Activision, and well, that happened. So
we know what happened.
Maybe one day Larian or FromSoft will go to the dark side as well. Right now they're Anakin Skywalker. Maybe they're going to become Darth Vader.
Come to the dark side.
Yeah. I hope not.
We have cookies.
But right now that's where they're at right now. Right now they're
the chosen ones.
Yeah, they are the chosen ones right now. And I hope that they continue to run with the philosophy that they've had so far, that has built them into what they are today. I'd say as long as Sven Vink is in charge of Larian, I don't think that's going to change. He is a little on the older side, so eventually he's going to have to retire. I hope whoever replaces him is going to have that very same spirit and passion that he did. I want whoever replaces Larian to have their own suit of fucking armor, that wherever they go, they accept awards or whatever, they show up in that armor.
Look, if you don't show up in suit of armor, don't hire him. Don't hire him.
Because that's how you know Sven Vink is passionate about what he does, about what his company does in the games that they make.
When he was making BG3, he wore that suit of armor everywhere.
He doesn't wear he doesn't wear like a tuxedo suit or anything to the Games Awards like everyone else. He has a suit of armor that he wears. That's his formal wear. Like, the man loves fantasy.
Yep.
He loves games.
He's a gamer at heart. Yeah, he's a gamer at heart.
Yeah, you can tell how much he cares for this. And it's not just a business to make money for him. It's so much more. And that's the kind of creativity, that's the kind of leadership that this industry needs more of.
Yeah, I will agree with that. But that is actually a good segue into our next piece: changes and changing. So much changes going on in the industry, and so that's the gaming and that's the video game industry. Excuse me. The TTRPG industry is set for a bit of a shakeup with the 2024 edition of D&D releasing in the next couple months. I mean, we've got
dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, we got the Player's Handbook coming out September 17th. I'm pretty sure that's the date of this year.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Madness. Our old friend.
The Player's Handbook, the PHB, and the DMG, the Dungeon Master's Guide, releasing so September 17th, and then the DMG is coming out November 17th, I think. November. I know it's coming out before. Pretty sure it's before Thanksgiving.
They got to get it in time for
Baptized.
the Christmas money.
They do. They have to. They have to.
More sugars and tacos. They do. I'm glad someone said it. I've been thinking it for years. Just glad someone put it in words.
Someone read your mind, man. Finally, more strippers and tacos. Damn right.
Exactly.
But so with regards to the the Player's Handbook, if you've watched our last couple of episodes, we have been diving into pieces of the released updates and talks they've been having about what's coming out in the 2024 edition of D&D.
Yeah.
And First of all, they really need to give this damn edition a fucking official name. Because calling it the 2024 edition ain't gonna cut it. Okay? Is it 5.5? Is it 6? Give us something, damn it. I'm tired of this shit. Number one.
I think at this rate, it's gonna be 2024.
It's
so close to release. If they haven't put like a different name out by now, it's just gonna be 2024.
I just want to say quick.
Maybe it is 5.5 or whatever. But
Baptized, I did manage to put tacos into a story, so
he did
50% of the way there.
My character got blown up by a fucking taco stand.
Tacos.
And they weren't even selling tacos.
So did we really have tacos? Or merely the idea?
Well, you guys never tried to order any tacos. You just started shooting people. So I mean, maybe if you would have been normal and seen there was a taco truck and ordered a taco.
Players in the RPG. How
So
long have you
seriously,
been playing RPGs, Greg? You should know normal just doesn't. It just doesn't.
Normal people play RPGs too.
Yeah, but the characters they play, you can't expect them to act normal.
No,
someone is going to get up to some bullshit without.
Most of the time,
that's a primary requisite to being an RPGer. Be up to bullshit. Absolutely.
Exactly. And we've hit tangent number 3, folks.
And here's the thing: I'm more than convinced that those individuals who play RPGs, whether they be in a game or at a table, if they're quote unquote good people, they purposely play degenerates because they're letting the intrusive thoughts win on paper instead of in reality. Just saying. That's my working theory anyway. I
like that excuse. So because I play mean characters means I'm a really nice person. I love it. That sounds great. What?
You're reaching, Greg. You're reaching.
Back to the topic at hand.
Yes, let's. We're not gonna go down that route.
All right, I see how it is.
So
Greg is a really nice guy. But anyway,
so if you pay attention, like Dungeons & Dragons YouTube channel, they've constantly been putting out updates talking about different parts of the player's handbook. They've talked a lot about classes and other things. There've been some good, there've been some bad. And
Matt has some feelings about this one.
Okay, so I mean, there's a couple things we can talk about, but I guess since you're bringing it up, we can talk about the origins or backgrounds and how they're treating those. So compared to like 5e, it seems like they're definitely working to expand what that does for the character. Because 5e, it provides you some proficiencies and like a very minor feat.
Some of them do. Some of them provide a minor feat, but what they really do right now in 5e, in the 2014 edition of 5th edition, is they provide you with either tool or weapon proficiencies. Some of them do provide you with like a minor feat, or even I would consider a major feat. One of the examples I'll give is the Wild Spacer feat from the Spelljammer setting that gives you the tough feat for free. And if you know what the tough feat does, it gives you essentially plus 40 HP by level 20. That's a lot of HP.
It's essentially like having 4 extra constitution in regards to it's exactly. Absolutely insane. And compare that to other things, like say the Urchin, you can now travel through cities about twice as fast. Very minor situational things.
Yeah, and they give you some like story beats to kind of develop your background.
And Insomnia, right? You're right. The backgrounds will now give a feat, and I think when they talk about like the origin feat, is the way they're talking about it seems different from like what comes with the backgrounds right now in 5e. Something a little more substantial, I imagine. But it seems like they also want to keep it a balanced, at least, because they have this separation of feats where you have the origin feats, like your main selection of feats, and then like the what they call epic feats or something like that.
Yes.
That you get at like level 19 and 20.
And 20, yeah, once you reach kind of the end game. So basically, yeah, backgrounds now will do a couple of things. They're trying to tie backgrounds more integrally, if that's a word, I think it is, into the character creation process. Meaning your character background will give you your ability score increases, meaning you'll either get +2 to one stat, or +1 to another, or +1 to 3 different stats. You'll get that. You still get that background piece. We'll get to that in a second, Matt. Let me finish. Yeah. But you still get that kind of that background development piece, and you will also get what's called an origin feat, which so everybody get basically. And the reason why they did that is because at a lot of tables, it's pretty much a widely used homebrew rule where you get a free feat at level 1. And instead of having that be a homebrew rule, they decided, let's just bake it into the game, and instead of having all of the feats applicable to the level 1 character creation, and you can get some crazy overpowered feats at level 1, let's kind of bracket them, and we'll put origin feats, which are typically, I believe origin feats are a half feat, so they'll give you some kind of bonus or proficiency, and you'll get a stat bonus, or ability score increase. And then you have your general feats, I believe they're called, and then, like as Matt said, your epic feats. Now Matt is going to let us know why he's a little salty there.
Okay, so the thing that kind of concerns me is the stat increases that come with the backgrounds, and this is it's weird because in 5e they solved that issue with races in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, where before your race would give you stat increases and set stats, and then Tasha's Cauldron came around and said, hey, if you want, you can put those stats wherever you want. It gave people a lot of freedom and made them not feel like, well, I want to play a fighter, so now I think I really got to be this race, or I'm just doing myself a disservice. Kind of lets them be a little more free in what race they play, and what class they play, what combinations.
Mm-hmm.
Doing this for backgrounds introduces that same issue. Because now, to bring up an example that they brought up in that video, where you have the acolyte background. And that's you can choose to put your stats in intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. Those are your choices. Well, what if you want to be a fighter with an acolyte background? Well, now you feel like you're doing yourself a disservice because you can only put those stats in stats that aren't really super important to your fightor. Maybe for Eldritch Knight, intelligence can do something for you, but it creates this limiting factor where I want to have this story for my character, but now I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot with their stats because this just they do not meld together well. And that's my problem with that system. They got rid of that. Yeah, they got rid of that concept for races with Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. So it seems weird that they're bringing that problem back with these character origins. It's they took a step forward and now they're taking one back. That's how it seems.
Character origins. Garbage.
I was fine with backgrounds in 5e because the proficiencies were just nice, but it wasn't a huge part of your character, and whatever proficiencies you took, it didn't make it feel like you're playing your character suboptimally. Because you chose a certain background. But now with this, I feel like that's gonna be the case, and I feel like a lot of people are gonna start homebrewing to be like, pretty much what Tasha's Cauldron did for races. People are gonna start homebrewing you can put those stats for that background wherever you want.
Yeah, they very well might do that. But here's my counterpoint to that. I see the point. Obviously, systems and mechanics are we're both very, very kind of into that. So I see the point that you're trying to make. From a system standpoint, yes, if you get one of those players who's, well, I have to be as optimal as possible, the min maxing is never going to stop. But my counterpoint to that is, do you really should you be concerned with optimization? Why not play the fighter who might have an increase to this stat or that stat, as opposed to their core stats?
Well, I mean, one, it does depend on what kind of player you are.
Yeah.
Like what you value more. But like, here's the thing: why can't I have both the story and the mechanics that I like in a character? Like, I like this story for a character, but I also like to have the build the way I want it. Why can't I have both? And if you think about it, D&D ultimately is a game about wish fulfillment. It's about being whatever you want to be. They make it no secret in those videos about what their design philosophy is, because they talk about wish fulfillment all the time. They want people to feel like they can be what they want to be. That they have those choices to do so. The problem is that this system with the origins and the stat increases runs counter to
that. It honestly, it really does. I'm surprised that they went with that. I figured they would have done something like a Tasha's, where we have these backgrounds that offer you a feat, offer you like a more substantial chunk of story beats to work with for your character, and they offer you the feat, and then they'll take a Tasha's Cauldron of Everything approach, where you can take, you have the breakdown of either the +2 and +1, or the 3+1s, where you can put wherever it is you want. And honestly, I think you're right. I think at the end of the day, most people are going to be homebrewing it in that fashion. We're going to be like, hey, look, we're going to take everything from this new background piece. So you'll get your feat, you'll get, the background blurb. But in this case, we'll pull the Tasha's Cauldron of Everything piece, where you got the 2+2 or the +1, or the 3+1s, wherever it is you want. So you can have your Acolyte fighter, or your Acolyte, Ranger,
Barbarian,
or something like that.
Stuff like that.
Acolyte Barbarian, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I think honestly, at this rate, I'm not going to be surprised if it goes through to release the same way as they're speaking about right now. I feel like it's probably. I wouldn't be surprised to see an addition later on, like Tasha's Cauldron, that makes it so you can freely allocate those points wherever you want. I'm not going to be surprised to see that. And I feel like at this rate, they probably will, considering I'm sure they're hearing what people are saying.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, again, when it comes to the origin feats, I guess we'll see how those look when it comes out. I'm interested. I just hope it doesn't create that same problem of like, well, I want the story of this, but I really should just go for this, type of thing.
Yeah, I'm wondering why they decided to go that route. I really am. I'm curious to see why they decided to go that route when they've, like you said, they already opened up the customization option with Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, and that seemed to be the direction they were moving at. Because first of all, they did away with the kind of restrictive piece of the race, so having the ability to score modifiers tied to the race. So did away with that with Tasha's, and then it seems like they kind of took a step back now and just did the same restriction but tied it to a background. So I'm curious to hear more about that piece.
Yeah, I guess we'll see as it goes on if they walk that one back, or if we're just going to see an addition down the line that solves that issue, which I feel like is probably going to be the case.
Honestly, I think it's too late for them to walk it back, because I'm pretty sure everything has gone to print already.
Probably. Some fireworks going on. That was pretty loud. I don't know if it came through on mic.
Yeah. It did a little bit.
It's okay, Nugget.
Okay. Dogs are going to be freaking out. Anyway, but yeah, that's the origin piece. They talked about a couple other things. One thing that they talked about that I did like is when it comes to tools, like your smithing supplies, leatherworking, all that stuff, cartographer's tools, all those things. I've always had a problem is that like sometimes it's not really ever been clear what stat you need to use when rolling with a tool for certain tasks. It kind of just leaves it up to you to kind of figure out how to properly use the tools that you've been given. But they've talked about it, and it seems like they're probably going to actually be a little more clear now. Like, if you want to do this type of action with your tool, this is the stat you're going to be rolling with it. Kind of actually let people know how these things work. And I think that's a plus, honestly, because like in our Roll20 game, I have some tools, and I'm looking over like my tool proficiencies, rolling with that. And it's just like, all right, I roll with this. What stat am I using? I got to pick one. Well, which one's the right one? What do I do for, like, say, blacksmith? Is that strength because I'm hammering something? Is that intelligence for knowing the craft? Like, what am I supposed to roll here? Again, you just gotta you kind of gotta make it up yourself, because they didn't really create that. They didn't tell you what to do. But so that's one thing I think that they did pretty good. I think that's a positive change. I think they said they were also going to be adding a lot more info to a lot of items that in 5e didn't really have a proper description or explain how it's even used. That pretty much everything now is going to be everything now is going to have its description. Like, this is what it does, so you know how to actually use the items. So I think that's a plus right there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I've criticized more. Yeah, because I've criticized this before, not just in D&D, but also Cyberpunk Red. Like, look at Cyberpunk Red. There's that boardware that essentially you get 2 more like cyber arm mounts, so you can essentially have 4 arms, but it doesn't really tell you what having 4 arms does for you. Are you able to do more attacks with more arms? Can you hold more stuff? Like, what do you do?
You can pick your nose and wipe your ass at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it doesn't tell you at all what this actually does for you, so you kind of have to like just make it up yourself what this does for you. And yeah, so I think it's good that they are like, hey, yeah, this is what this thing actually does. This is why you should have it, So, in regards to the items and tools, it sounds like they're going the right direction there. But speaking of items and tools, crafting.
I was just waiting for you to go here.
That 5-minute video of a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah.
Hey, come on. Crafting's awesome. It's so awesome that they don't even tell you what it is.
Yeah, it really told us nothing about what crafting is actually going to look like. So I hope they're going the right way for it, because I mean, between the 3 of us, we talked about
it's a secret. You're going to be so amazed when you see it, when you actually see it. It's going to be just...
I hope so.
Going to blow your mind.
Because I mean, we were talking about this just last night, actually, when it comes to crafting in D&D, like in 5e, to where, like, if you want to craft a armor of plate mail, that's taking you about half a year to do. There's a whole lot better things to do with your character in half a year than that. You could easily make the money to buy something at full price if crafting it. So like, the crafting really fell apart when you got to higher value items in the amount of time it would take to craft said item. And so I hope that's something that they fix. I really do. But
she had 4 arms. There you go. That's what the 4 arms are for.
Maybe, it only take 3 months instead of half a year. Wow, But
the thing with the crafting system is before they can fix the crafting system, they have to fix the economics because you can't.
Yeah.
Economics are a little whack.
Yeah.
Especially like I've every time I've heard this, I've hated it. Like the fact that a gold is like a typical person's entire year's worth of like wages, and it's like that makes absolutely zero sense. Like, look at a single ration, a day's worth of food. That's 5 silver. That's half a year's worth of work to get a single day's
for a single day.
Food. That makes zero sense.
Hey, the people in D&D are really lean. I'm telling you.
They really don't got to eat much, huh?
No.
Nope.
Like bears, they pack on calories. The really high calorie stuff.
Yeah.
And
then they go to sleep for the winter.
Yeah. So
fun fact: bears don't actually sleep. They don't actually sleep all winter.
What do they do then? They just lay there.
Well, they sleep deeply, but they don't it's not like they fall asleep and then nothing wakes them up until.
Oh yeah, no. They wake up. They they gotta. Yeah. They still need like water and there's still some things, but they do spend a lot more time sleeping. Tangent number 4. But yeah, the economy is absolutely whack in D&D, and so yeah, I hope they fix that. I hope things because of course they you need a decent gold sink in your game. If you're going to give people money, you got to give them things to spend their money on. That's important thing number 1. 2, I hope it makes sense in the story now, because a gold being a person's year's worth of work, just it makes absolutely no sense when you look at the price of anything.
Well, right, that it doesn't. The economy in the game just does not. It doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense. And as long as you have that, and the fact that the crafting is heavily based on the economics piece or the value of the items that you want to make, it definitely causes a problem. So, and I think that this leads into what you were talking about with like the plate mail armor, where for a sense of realism, I mean, unless you're an armor smith that's your thing, you're working on just making armor, for a person who is more or less part-time working on building this armor, it's going to take you a long time to get it right. And it's not easy. You're not working with materials that are easy to work with. So 6 months is realistic, but yeah.
Realism doesn't always equate to fun game mechanics, and that's the issue right there.
No, it doesn't. You have to balance that piece.
D&D already threw realism out the window. Like, resting for 8 hours.
You mean there really aren't dragons in the world?
No.
What?
I'm sad.
Yeah, like when it comes to the resting,
Santa Claus isn't real either.
Yeah, but you're able to fully recover from near death in just 8 hours. That's not real, but that makes for more fun game mechanics, because like that lets you kind of get right back to the action. It's
just have a good night
for the player enjoyment. So they kind of need to make that concession when it comes to that crafting as well. It'll be like where like they make sure it's fun, because it's not fun to have your character spend half a year just doing this one thing while all the other characters are spending that half year probably making way more money than that plate mail would have cost full price. So it's just the crafting system currently has its problems, and I hope they fix it. I really do. We just don't know what it looks like because they said nothing.
It really has
to be different.
It really has to be something that you're passionate about. You think about it that way. If it takes you 6 months to build a set of plate mail armor, okay, then how much can you sell that for? What's the value of it?
Value, like the buy price is like, it's either I think it's 1,400.
1,400, okay.
Which is one of the, as it is one of the most expensive like pieces of equipment in the game.
So I can So my Bruin can go pit fighting for whatever 5 weeks, maybe 6, and buy himself a set of plate mail armor.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah. In a fraction of the time, you've made enough money to buy the thing outright. So like that, the crafting rules, it just doesn't make any like sense when you get out that far. So again, I'm genuinely hoping that they fix that, because crafting items is it's a fun thing to do. It helps. You can save money by crafting something instead of buying it outright. That sounds good on paper, but when it takes that long to do, you've lost the benefit it gives you. So again, we'll see how that looks. That video told us nothing, so we'll have to wait for the release of the player's handbook to see what that actually looks like. Which I feel like they'd be hard pressed to come up with a worse crafting system. So it's probably going to be better.
I hope it's better.
Wow, Matt, you are just like you're like the optimist tonight. I'm baffled, man. I am.
What do you mean the optimist? I was just talking about how I don't like their
right, but you've been spinning everything around within these statements with this optimistic viewpoint. I'm like, oh my god.
Because I want to.
Are you feeling ill or what? What's the?
Because I feel like it's depressing to look at the future with nothing but pessimism.
He's got the hopium turned up to high.
You know how
it's how I stay sane. Okay.
You know what the problem is that we're talking about this from the standpoint of hope that they fix this. And they, that mysterious group of people that's ever out there doing things that are awful and that we hate, never fix anything. So maybe we should do it.
Maybe. Might be right.
I mean, that's the entire attitude of DC20. Fixing D&D. That's that game's entire deal, essentially.
Yeah, is fixing D&D and what they got wrong. Hopefully they do it. Hopefully they manage to do it. But
I mean, will they? Things have been going well for DC20 so far, and it's going to be interesting seeing once both systems are out, because they're both essentially coming from 5e and trying to make improvements from that system. So it's going to be interesting seeing which each system does right and which each system does wrong. Obviously, I think DC20 is probably it's going to be more different from 5e than 2024 D&D is going to be from 5e. But
yeah.
It's going to be interesting to compare the two, honestly.
All right, gentlemen. So what else do we have? Do we have anything else we were going to talk about tonight?
I think that's about it, right?
I don't think so. Pretty sure that's it.
Yeah. Think we covered all the things we wanted to cover.
Yeah, we will not be having a game tomorrow, as it is 4th of July. We'll be having celebrations of our nation's independence from tea. We drink coffee over here, not tea.
And if it is really tea, down here in the South, that tea better be sweet, all right?
Sweet tea, yeah. Better have at least half a gallon of sugar.
The amazing thing about us Americans is that we can launch a civil war or a rebellion over a breakfast beverage. It's fantastic.
Yep. Yeah. Priorities, people. Priorities. So we will not be having a game stream. Minnetonka, Minnesota. All right. Minnetonka, Minnesota. That's an interesting name of a city, Minnetonka.
There's a lot of, actually it's a tribal Indian.
Okay. Makes sense.
There's a lot of those up here in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Montana, Michigan. But yeah.
Makes sense. Okay. Well, shit. But our next stream will be episode 60 of the Update Log next Wednesday, after the holiday. And we'll be, doing the same thing, diving into some recent news and keeping you guys updated. So a couple of things will be changing up. Our game stream is going to be seeing a bit of a change, but more to come on that later. We will be finishing up. We'll be finishing up the BOR soon, right, Greg?
Yeah, we're going to run through the BOR piece and finish. So that story is going to be coming to an end. Just FYI for everybody. But it should be a very interesting end. But yeah, we are going to wrap that one up, and then we have some restructuring we're working on to move on to the next things. So, and some new characters to introduce. So.
Yes, indeed. Other than that, I don't think we have anything else to provide. I think we're all caught up.
Fantastic. And as mentioned in the chat, I'll probably put some information out over the next month. I'll put it that way. But we're working on some live games, in-person live games that we might be doing in the Green Bay area in the near future, or at least I will be doing in the Green Bay area in the near future. So stay tuned. If you're not part of our Discord, then join the Discord. Link is in the chat, so you can get that information and come and check it out. That's all I got, gentlemen. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight.
Yeah. Thank you, all you fine folks. You guys, for those of you in the States, happy 4th of July for tomorrow. For those of you who are not, thank you for coming out and hanging out with us and listening to what we had to say. You guys have a good one.
Awesome. Thank you, buddy. Yep.
See you guys next time.
You as well, Somnia.
I am going to play that song. I'm going to put an end screen on and I'm going to play that song just because I want to play that song. So
I
told everybody that I was going to. So here we go.
Nowhere to run, nothing to hide from your government's prying eye. Take yourself a summer holiday and get some time away from the brain. Wasn't it 1984? Your appeals opened up the door. Now the brother is spying, entering through your attitude. Come get your mandatory soma injections. We'll get them out when we rig the elections. Freedom of speech for those approved. Best shut up before you're removed. Wasn't it 1984? Your appeals opened up the door. Now Big Brother is spying on you, monitoring through your activity. What if I told you the police are on a killing spree, say it means nothing to me? What if I told you our democracy is now an oligarchy, say it means nothing to me? I say, who are the great police?